Advocacy Director for the Committee to Protect Journalists. How important is this event?
I think this is a very important event. This is the Saudi embassy in Washington, D.C. President Trump and Mohammed bin Salman, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, are very close. President Trump has talked about the importance of the relationship in terms of economics and security with Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, just letting a journalist who was a resident in the U.S. be murdered with no repercussions. So this is very important to send a signal that a year on, we are not going to forget. We are not going to let Jamal have died in vain, and we will seek justice.
You mentioned Donald Trump. You have been putting pressure on the administration to put pressure on Saudi Arabia to isolate the Crown Prince, for example. It's not really worked, though, has it?
It's not working. What we've seen is that not only is the United States, but Europe, the business community is happy to do business as usual with Saudi Arabia, which is really shocking. Saudi Arabia is going to host the G20. It's hold Davos in the desert. It just seems like they have blood on their hands and nobody seems to care. We're here to say that people do care. We are watching who is going to those meetings. We want them to demand justice, to use their influence to get justice, not just to say, oh, Saudi Arabia is too powerful.
Where can you go from here? As I say, Donald Trump, his administration, they're not listening to you. Is there anything you can do differently? They're not going to change their approach, are they?
Well, we have filed a lawsuit to request information about what the intelligence communities knew when, whether they had a duty to warn Jamal Khashoggi, whether there was intelligence indicating that. So we'll have to see what comes of that. And we do think that Congress has a role to play here, enforcing at least so that we have information about what was known and when. The intelligence agencies have already said with medium to high certainty that Mohammed bin Salman was involved. And we're seeing even, President Erdogan in Turkey, calling for justice, which, is sometimes ironic because Turkey is the world's largest jailer of journalists, and yet there is also a role for Turkey to play. So we need to see the international community say this cannot stand, and we are watching, and we are here to pay tribute to Jamal Khashoggi and to his work to raise human rights and press freedom issues in Saudi Arabia.
It's been a year since the death. Will you be here again next year? Will you have made any progress at all, or will this story inevitably just disappear from the
This story
radar?
will never disappear. It is not normal for a country to murder a resident of another country in a third party's consulate and to cover it up and then to trickle out information about the brutal murder. This is not normal. So no, we will never go back to normal. And one of the things about the Committee to Protect Journalists is we will work on a case for years until we get justice. That is what we are all about, because in 9 out of 10 cases of journalists who are murdered, no one is brought to justice. We are committed to changing that.
Courtney Radsch, thank you very much indeed.